long. We still have 2 more PGS
Of course,
year.
of
World
course.
Cup,
For
PGC
sure.
could
For
be.
sure.
Na'Vi, champions again.
I'm just giving them a long timeline, that's all. Twisted Minds. How about it? Wally Tai on the other side of the road. And Bleed. Their reign of terror might just start coming to an end. They've been a real pain. A pain point for multiple teams, and now they're on the move. Lost Orkaran. Zone's pushed out to the west. This could be a Twisted Minds game.
It could. Very reminiscent terrain scenario from Tago, just our previous match. And the winners came from where Twisted Minds are playing from.
Lyrics just got knocked as well by Alo. They've got more mortars.
How? Where? Why do they have more?
Whoa!
The confirm on the Lyrics, the knock on a Jacob. It's all down to Zizzy. Already dropped into low ground. Can't get the revive. No kills. No placement points yet.
And perhaps no placement points at all because Zizzy is being pressured. It's Bleed. They're trying to do it for the boys, I think, at this point. They're trying to help everybody out. Zizzy's hanging on by a thread. He should be dead. He is. It goes to Cerberus in the end. Hisaki getting that one. But E-Arena out in 14th, and Twisted Minds once again are licking their lips, saying, please, sir, can we have some more?
This has to be the moment for Twisted Minds.
Another 10, 15 points out of this game, and we're right back to it. It's a massive battle for E-Arena's position now. Cerberus, New Happy, Bleed. They're all involved in this one, and it's going to be New Happy that do get taken down by Cerberus. Bleed ran away. So Cerberus take control of the high ground.
Could get some revives here, but there is FaZe coming in from the east. And listen, maybe this is just me. Never count out a P90. Trick wants to get back to the mix. Of course, has to dodge a couple of grenades. Cerberus still very aware that there are players on the low ground, and FaZe from the east. Cerberus holding on. 3 kills for them. Line up on the Gustav is not landing, and a good response by Korexi.
All right, Saki with that nade. Gonna try to put more pressure on Gustav. It bounces a little too far. The downhill toss, sometimes a little difficult to make work. FaZe are wondering if they really want to stick around here. Seems like they might have other ideas. Sololzi as well, trying to keep Pero at bay. There are a lot of teams looking in Cerberus' direction. It's a battle on multiple fronts.
Cerberus are holding on for now. FaZe are holding on for now, pitted below them. They're all in the zone. They don't have to fight if they all want to. Of course, with Petrogor Road sniffing around from the southwest, the risk of commitment from any of these teams is high. Korexi, a little bit of damage, but again, just falls away.
Yeah, there's a lot of space to the north of FaZe that they can retreat to if necessary.
MG3?
Bleed, I mean, Bleed are just hanging around. Like, Bleed, they just keep popping up this game, don't they? Seymour gets that knock onto Himas, and now Trick and Seymour are going to try as a duo to assault Cerberus. It's not gone very well. Actually, the kills go to Pero. It's madness.
Yeah, but hey, they got 1 kill. They got 1 confirm on the former raid boss for Cerberus. Himas is down, and now it is just a hold against FaZe because they saw that in the kill feed, and look how close Korexi has got under the cover of smoke.
All I'm seeing is a Twisted Minds pull. And I'm keeping my eyes peeled on that one as Falcons are eliminated in 11th. It was Relo solo for quite a long time this game. And here comes FaZe. Tycon down straight away. The rest of the lads you'd think soon to follow. Sololzi and Hisaki hiding behind some smokes for the moment. Pero also waiting for their moment to strike.
Chewy on the push. The swing from the east. They need to control this position in order to have a good send into the zone from this high ground down into the low ground. That Virtus.pro's already tried to establish some positioning there. Still 4 up for FaZe. Couple of smokes left to use. Sololzi is just waiting for a peek. In fact, can go aggressive, but the covering fire from Korexi is too strong.
Yeah, very good setup from FaZe. Good patience as well, being rewarded for it. It's going to send Hisaki packing. He's going to do some long distance running. Don't know how far he's going to get. There's a few hunters out in the woods tonight.
Now 4 AM. Here of Relo, last one for Falcons. They can now put their attention towards the south again. Everyone's fighting over this hilltop, what remains of it in the zone, because it's a big wide open field. Twisted Minds and Howl are looking over. Na'Vi sending it into Wally Tai on the north side. Again, the drive-bys. Na'Vi are not getting punished on their rotates at all.
The drive-by kings of the game here on Vikendi. Diffx has got himself 2. And Wally Tai suffering much the same fate as the Falcons lads earlier on. Just wondering what on earth has happened to us.
Dude, Na'Vi get right of way every single rotation they have.
Well, this is what I'm talking about, though, with this late stage resurgence from Na'Vi. They've actually gone above Falcons now into 4th place, and VP very much in the sightlines as well, given they're down to only a duo for this game as well, and it does not seem like Na'Vi are going to be slowing down at all. Latte's been spotted out by Hakatori, so said needs to be revived. The nades will finish off Walitai, and that is another very clean team wipe from Na'Vi.
Yeah, should be able to get the revive. We see Howl try to extend out. In fact, they're in range of grenades. The follow-up doesn't steal the kill or get another knock, but it does reset Na'Vi's approach, and FaZe, Petrichor Road didn't let them leave. Out in the blue, Fex is denying this point. FaZe and Petrichor Road next to each other on the leaderboard. These points could be very impactful for prize pool, for PGC points.
Gustav cowering away, trying to keep FaZe in the game. James as well, causing problems for God V, so nobody that goes into this direction seems to get away with it for free. Gustav in from behind, gets another one onto Ming. There's FaZe for another point. Instantly sat down by Summer. But you fly too close to the sun when you try to jostle for this position on the southeastern side of the map. It's not going to be a winning position, there's no doubt about that one. And another feed for Twisted Minds. They honestly haven't really been getting themselves into the kill feed, though. That's the only concern for me here. Going to be capitalizing on it.
I mean, everyone's been fighting on the east side. There haven't been a lot of opportunities for them. Look at Petrichor Road. They have 10 kills because everyone's coming in from this direction. It's only Eggsef left. So that's at least something that, Twisted Minds can hold on to, that the placement points are going to start really adding up now. 4 a.m. should be getting God V picked back up, but with Howl to the north, and then, of course, Twisted Minds, the angles are going to finally start to open up for them. Where can they go that's in this zone?
God V back down. 4 a.m. Struggling a little bit. Pero eventually eliminated at the hands of Luke 12, and that's always scary, especially when you've got a sightline from Twisted Minds on the other side of it. Vectix looking for the shots. There's a couple of headshots already connected onto Na'Vi, but somehow they've gotten through that one without losing a player just yet. Diffex be dropped by Batulin's example, catches Hakatori as well. It was always wishful thinking that Na'Vi were going to be able to make that rotate in one vehicle and not get absolutely wrecked. So the run ends here for Na'Vi as the nade coverage is good enough from Twisted Minds, and that is 4 more points for Twisted Minds. The chase is on.
Kurt with the grenade, can't quite, it did actually make it into the shack. Only gets one knock. Luca is still alive, playing behind a shield. Separated from his teammate. Last one up for Virtus Pro.
Should be able to get the res. Hal maybe thinking about pushing in that direction as well, but they've got their sights set on 4 a.m. for now.
Looking for more kills, looking for more opportunities, more damage. Big open field in front of them. And here it is, more grenades out. The revive came through, no time for Nixie to get the heal on just yet.
Luke 12 got that first knock, and the molly didn't quite make it in through the shack. A nade was tossed in, and it will eventually get the job done. Sparking low, that might be the end of TSM as well. Luke 12 finished off, Sparking surviving by the skin of his teeth at the moment. It's Twisted Minds and Hal, really, that are the power players in this game. Both teams are 4 alive, but Twisted Minds decidedly better zone positioning at the moment.
It's looking good, and they want to make sure they get every single kill point they can, but without throwing the game.
Yes.
They should know that Howl will still have 4. Good damage coming up. Perfectix gets knocked. Wasn't able to get behind the rock in time, and this could be the opportunity, the moment for Howl to steal it away. There is still sparking in the middle. Yeah. Could be impactful on either side of things.
Example sprinting over to try to get the res, but it's a scary cross. Wants to get those smokes down first. Howl still have some time to move. If you're watching the map stream, you're seeing them jostling for position, trying to spread out and find some extra angles. But it doesn't quite look like they're going to be able to find the finishing blow onto Perfectix, and that res should come through for Twisted Minds. Example's in a good spot as well to watch from the flank.
Hard shift for Phase 7, Southeast.
Sparking looking for a second.
Yeah, reminiscent of the Miramar game where Virtus Pro were able to do just that. Of course, he doesn't have a gas can to deny it at the end of things, but we'll see how long he can survive. It is still 4 apiece for Twisted Minds and Howl. And it depends on how much utility they have left for the risk for sparking.
Big opportunity for Twisted Minds. Another 4 kills, a few more placement points. It would put them right on the line with the Arena.
Yeah.
And there was a big points deficit going into this game, but it would definitely spice things up for the final two. Obviously, those being on Erangel.
Classic, the OG, where everyone should have the most familiar experience with.
Yeah, Twisted Minds have got to take this opportunity and run with it. You know, obviously, there's a lot on offer for Howl as well, right? You can jump up a bunch of places here, even into the top 5, and that significantly increases your prize money and your PGS points as well. But the big story here is, can Twisted Minds finally do what they've been attempting to do for a long time now and win an event? Well, this is a game that will go a long way in making that possible if they can convert it with a win.
I'm favoring Twisted Minds terrain here that they're playing with. You can see that they have, as low of a defilade it is on Batulin's side of things, they have a line that they can hold, whereas Howl only have a small little corner that their positioning seems to give them space in.
Yeah, well, I mean, what about the sparking factor as well? Is he going to come into play? The door of that shack is facing Twisted Minds.
Yeah. But I don't think he's going to have much incentive to try and peek, at least not until the fights have started between the two opposite sides. Ooh, oh, headshot, knock! Could be starting off. I don't know if Twisted Minds going to go for the confirm on that.
He just ran out into the smoke to grab something. I'm not sure what it was, but he's got to a death box. Batulins will cover the front door. Perfectix is watching it as well. Res, of course, for Howl. Another slow phase 7 and 8. It's probably what we're going to get here. Depends on where this zone shift goes. Molly is deep enough to catch sparking.
Oh, the corner. It actually hasn't spread to the corner. He's able to heal through it. A good hold. Again, the damage coming out. Just, okay, smoke for extra cover. But again, looking at the zone, looking at the circle, Twisted Minds, despite facing off against Sparking, they have found a position. Grenade misses. And the rest of the team on the backside, Perfectix and Lou, as well as Example, making sure that Howl don't make a send while they're distracted by the shack.
Yeah, Example still holding on to a couple of nades here, but you don't really want to overcommit, right? Because those could come in very useful in the 4-on-4 exchange against Howl. You think Sparking is kind of the least of the concerns for Twisted Minds right now, but Howl are on the move. Here we go. This is where Sparking might come into play, tossing the nade out into the smoke. Howl can't push their way forward, and they are starting to cop shots on the cross. A Molotov in onto Sparking, might be the death of him, but he got a double knock. Ruin and the Mad, he is able to pick them up just before he goes down, and that might just be enough to gift Twisted Minds the victory here on Vikendi.
Look at the send by Lou. Code Marco's trying to watch for it, but the covering fire of Perfectix shuts that down. The revive is coming into play, but look at the frag. It doesn't go far enough.
Damage though, the smokes are fading. Lou on the angle, gets it done onto the Mad. He gets the knock onto Ruin as well. This is Twisted Minds charging their way forward to try and catch up to E Arena. Nade in onto Ketpa. Example on the flank. Code Marco, the only one standing, and that is that. It is going to be Twisted Minds closing the gap.
Lou yells out in victory. 2 games left, and we thought it was a threatening gap between E Arena and Twisted Minds. But with that win there, it's going to be a close final 2 games.
There's only going to be single-digit points in it. I don't think that they've quite managed to equalize, but obviously we'll have to get to the leaderboard on the analyst desk when we can really see that. But they've certainly done enough to keep it interesting. We were worried, definitely, that E Arena was just going to run away with things, but not the case. And Twisted Minds, they're very much still in the mix.
But on the chase, can they hold on to their nerve? Very fortunate that E Arena went out with 0 points. Twisted Minds get the chicken dinner. These last 2 matches will mean everything for them.
Better late than never. Twisted Minds gets their first chicken dinner of PGS4, and what a time to get it. as they do climb up. The story is still in play. Twisted Minds could catch E-Arena.
Oh, the dream isn't dead. It was starting to feel like a nightmare, but these guys who are battling everything, so much mental that they have to go through just to be chasing after E-Arena, while also tackling so much sickness.
Right.
This is a squad that is just having to make sure that they're pulling through everything. Everything is being stacked against them, but they're still finding a way.
And to be clear, I don't care who wins, E-Arena or Twisted Minds at the end of this thing. I just love a good chase, and that is exactly what we've got on the books right now. We saw E-Arena, they managed to get to the quote-unquote Falcon's Nest. They played very well from up there, but Alo was not going to allow them. He used every mortar he had, and then I think he went out on an Indiana Jones-style expedition to find more.
I think he just kind of decided he needed more mortars. He
More
went for a couple
mortars.
of, like 6, 7, that's not enough. I need another 3 or 4, and then managed to hit them.
He puts the more in ters as he deters E-Arena's ability to put up those points. Twisted Minds plays this very well. Na'Vi, they tried to stop them. They made some rotations, starting with a bit of a run over of the Falcons early on, but Twisted Minds holds strong from the jump.
Okay, and can we all acknowledge that almost every Twisted Minds fan right now is a massive Sparking fan? That nade gave them the breath of life that they needed right there.
Welcome back to the desk. My name's Toppies. This is Match'em. You brought up Sparking, which is a hilarious juxtaposition of where Sparking was in the Miramar game, trying to push a shack of his own. Didn't quite work out the way the Sparking would have liked, but hey, he used the bag, he avoided, and really, I think, drew out. I thought that might have been trouble for Twisted Minds because they had to sit there for so long dealing with him. But at the end of the day, they just knew how to play that. They were smart, and Howell was unable to connect on that push.
Twisted Minds, 10 kills, 1,400 damage. Howl up here yet again with
How
7
do they
kills.
do it?
TSM finding themselves another good game as well. TSM on a big come up of their own.
Yeah, Sparking has really been a great survivor for this team, has been put up some good numbers. I wish they would have done this on day one and pushed through because TSM has proven in the group stages they're a good team. Now they are showing back up. But let's look at the WWCD. We're going to focus on this because this is the first time we got to see them here in PGS4, and boy, do they do it in style.
It's going to be Lou off of those picks right there at the end, making sure that they could chase down what Sparking started with the nade. Going to pick up 4 of his own. Example picking up 3 as well. Decent damage coming up from the entirety of the squad. Poor Perfectix, not even a kill with almost 500 damage.
You know what? I don't think he cares right now. Okay, so the Twisted Minds support staff is sitting out in the lobby area. They're all watching. They got a nice big team here. There was a sense of deflation in the last couple of games, just a sense of morose, if you will, when you walk past them. I could hear them yelling at the end of that game. It is not going to be the case. Twisted Minds is about to walk off for the break. They're going to get hyped. They're going to get pumped, and they are coming in on a high. E-Arena has to somehow pull themselves back up and be ready for what is about to be a chase.
It's back to the mental battle, baby, and I am excited because it's going to be who can tough it out, who can make sure that they can play the leaderboard the best. 20 points for Twisted Mind is going to make this a competition.
E-Arena walks away with nothing. Twisted Mind walks away with everything. That pivot is going to open the doors for the 1 and 2, but that's not the entire story. When we get to the overall leaderboard, remember the race has been contracting in that middle. The battle for third and a little bit down to about 6 is getting very, very tight. Here it is right now. Third place, Virtus Pro 117, and it is competitive all the way down to Howell. One good game out of these two, and anyone could be in that mix for the big prize.
1 point difference between E-Arena and Twisted Minds right now is going to make this spicy going into these last two. VP nipping on the heels, haven't been able to have their big game just quite yet, but do not count them out.
No, they're going to keep pushing for that third. Something crazy could happen, but ultimately for me, Twisted Minds, that we are ending on Arangel, and I think this is where Twisted Minds can really accelerate. They play that macro game so well.
I just also love to see, while they are on the right side of the board, Hell has been putting up a ton of points today.
True.
Don't take your eyes off of them because they are only 1 point back behind Petrichor Road, who hasn't found as much success today by any means.
They're going to be in that middle mix. And the good news for Twisted and E-Arena is that middle mix is so close, there's not going to be a lot of wild cards out there floating around doing crazy things. People are going to want to sort of manage that jump of 5. So that does mean we're going to see some good, I think, fundamental PUBG going into these last two.
This is going to be absolutely insane. So we've got the battle for first. That's big. VP can maybe find a way to compete, but they're going to have to do it in the next one.
True.
If not, they at least need to make sure that they're holding on to a ton of points because there are, what, 8 squads back behind them going on to the tried and true Erangel that everybody knows.
Everyone knows.
This is going to be a massive battle for the left side of the leaderboard all over the place.
And I think this is going to be a big test for E-Arena, obviously. But a large portion of this is they've got experience, but they don't have the LAN high-level international experience that Twisted Minds does. Will that experience come into play? We're going to find out when we come back from this break. It's the last 2 games to crown a champion of PGS4. It's going to be awesome. Don't go anywhere.
Please do not do it again!
No! Rex, what is happening?
On the roof. 摆门他那个杀了。
来来
Knock one. We should fight them. Don't kill him. Come.
我打右，我打右。
点击他这个房后，这个边这个房后，跑过来。
First floor.
One guy second floor.
I got headshot. I have to heal. I'm in first floor. They're far side from me. Knock one more. 在1楼了。
这打我那个人。
在1楼。
快给他扔闪了。
掉下来。
翻下了。
在下面帮他们打这边。
I'm boosting. Follow me.
Come, check the this. 来了。
营一队来了。
打了。
Two guys in the. One more.
Reloading. Got one stairs.
Upstairs.
One last. I'm on fire.
兄弟，有人来了。别让。
It's looking like this might be the best chance we've seen yet. With 2 rounds to go.
You might be right, but E-Arena got to be coming into Erangel with the mentality of new map, new me. And if they can have 2 good maps of Erangel, then hey, there we go.
And I think this will be more impactful going into the final Erangel, but even here could be something to consider. The gap between first/second and 3rd place is like 25 points. That's a good enough gap to go for something aggressive. We'll see if they do it here on Erangel as we have 2 rounds left at PGS4 before we crown out. It's going to be good for Gen G. They've had a couple of poor rounds today, dropping from 4th, 5th place. But their drop spot, Severny, is, as the red circle reminds us, dead center of the circle. It's to the coast, so it's not center of like the playable area, but still a good position to start from, as is Navi's.
Yeah. Well, another difficult one to navigate for E-Arena, dropping pretty much on the opposite side of the map.
They love that.
They do love that, in theory.
In theory. But you guys will love these 6 teams, as you can watch their multi-view in PUBGesports.com. Twisted Minds, it's going to be tense.
Yeah.
It's going to be stressful.
I mean, think about it. You could watch the winning moment on the Twisted Minds POV and listen to their comms as it happens. Not every esport is going to give you that opportunity.
Yeah.
In fact, very few. In fact, probably PUBG is the only one that I know of.
Live, at least.
Live, especially. I mean, if at all. Like, how often do you really get to hear team comms? I think that's just amazing, to be quite honest with you. So definitely take that opportunity and run with it if you are so inclined. And, you know, funny that we should say that when Bleed is on the screen, because I think Vikendi for Bleed was very much that mentality, right? They saw a team, they're like, we're going to fight them.
Yeah, I mean, it helped that they had the crate weapons. What's the point of having an MG3 or a P90 if you can't use it?
Yeah, they caused a bit of a ruckus for a few teams, actually.
E-Arena being one of them.
Yeah, this might be an emergency parachute job again for E-Arena, which definitely didn't go well for them on Vikendi.
In their defense, there weren't a lot of strong E-pickup positions to make it to, at that point, that position on the map. You can criticize them for trying to be a little cheeky with it, going center. We know how strong they are being on edge. So I think maybe perhaps overthinking things instead of playing into their wheelhouse, as of course the Mad does go down early. A lot of smokes in play. Wait, who threw these smokes?
I think it might have been him.
Trying to cross away from FaZe. So early engagement, early activity by Gustav, and looks like shots are still coming through to try and confirm this.
Vex driving a little bit closer. These smokes start to fade and cause an issue. Ruin's just going to put him in the car.
What are you leaning out of the window for? Get back in there.
In the ambulance. Wee. Off we go.
Okay.
All good.
Yeah, they're good. They're going to get the revive. That is going to slow down their rotation. But Bleed, they're not playing this one slow at all. Simoy is getting close to Virtus Pro, who, I mean, if it happens for Virtus Pro, it would be absolutely amazing. But they can't lose a player or two here, and they've lost a player or two early on quite a few times today.
Yeah, it was sort of rough going for VP. You know, they've never really had the full 4 strong into the end game that had been kind of their trademark during the group stages of PGS4. Timing looks like it'll be okay for VP here as they exit Mansion without too much of a loss. Yeah, that'll be okay.
Oh,
Ooh,
will they?
Have I spoken too soon?
The headshot into Nixie makes things a bit tense. At this range,
Surely not. He's got the first aid kit off as well, so he'll be good. He'll be fine. Don't you worry about that one. Falcons and Gen G taking up residence with one another on either side of the road south of Severny. Can be definitely a very good position to play from once the zone pushes in.
they even have Mime coming in from the E-pickup as E-Arena also taking an E-pickup, quite an early one. They've left Zizzy behind as a plan B, and I'll be honest, playing a plan B this early in the game is making me worried about E-Arena's nerves.
It's like they're playing not to lose rather than playing to win. And E-Arena, when they were on the front foot in a lot of those fights we saw in the group stage, they were so dominant. They looked so good.
Yeah.
And if they would just play like that again today, they could hold on to the first place.
And historically in PUBG, if you're in first place and you're playing to not lose, you usually lose. So again, I'm not calling it until it happens. I just my pattern recognition skills. I'm starting to see something here, but they do have a long distance to go, and the information is going to be blind for them as they cross that barrier into the safe zone, as most teams already have done. Bleed still playing on the outskirts of Twisted Minds in this little scattered shack position north of Razak.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we're talking a lot about E-Arena and how they can potentially play this game out, but it also comes into play how Twisted Minds go. I mean, it can be a net positive for both teams, net negative, or if one goes up and the other goes down, then that's where things get a little bit more awkward. Summer's waiting for the free kill onto Unique, which he might find a little more difficult because of the positioning of the vehicle, but the taps are true anyway. Unique is Dunzo. Ming coming across in the buggy for some vehicular warfare.
First goal of the round. Someone's going to take that one. Latte was almost able to answer back with a knock of their own, and E-Arena, rather, they're finally getting into this zone. They sent it all the way to Severny, all the way on the north side. A lot of cover for them to land into. Genji wasn't able to deter that drop too much because Falcons have been facing off against them this whole time, and Mime is even able to get a knock against Rex.
Here goes Zizzy. The great rotate, we'll call this. Is he going to make it? I mean, are you going to make it all the way to Severny as a solo? The thing is, at least E-Arena have managed to make it pretty safely into Severny.
We'll see what options they have if it pulls away from it. I don't know if Genji might have grabbed all those vehicles on the north side that usually spawn around there, but Petrichor Road still going for more. Example,
Points.
holding point. Solo player, seemingly the entirety of Petrichor Road. Eyes on this position, but Example could get one kill. The second doesn't come so free.
Well, Nade, yeah, I mean, this should be a point on the board for Twisted Minds. Chewy's been able to crawl away from the nade. And the second one's gone way too far, but Batulans is coming across as well. The rest of Twisted Minds on their way in. Pero don't want to let Chewy go down for free, but Twisted Minds, this is tense times for them. I don't know that they'd like to necessarily be taking such an early fight, but a point is a point, and that is going to be the equalizing one, and then maybe even one that gets them ahead of E-Arena. It's disaster for E-Arena, and celebration for Twisted Minds as they start to work their way through this Pero roster.
This is such a good approach, such a good surround by Twisted Minds. Everything is coming up their way. Not a single point of damage has been dealt from Petrichor Road left.
Oh. He's left 25 HP, the nade through from Perfectix, and Twisted Minds with a clean wipe on Petrichor Road. 4 more points on the board for Twisted Minds, has them 3 clear of E-Arena, and they're in first place for the first time in the final stage.
But Lou goes down! Cerberus looking around, circling this area, and then instant confirm onto Lou is a sudden bring back down, pull back down to earth for the mentality of Twisted Minds. Yeah. They're in first place now by 3 points.
Do you take that trade if you're given the choice? Do you take the 4 points for the 1 player here if you're Twisted Minds?
That's a tough one. That is a tough one. Because it's only phase 1. You don't know if your position that you just fought over was a good one. So, I don't know. But Legacy, RBN, game leader of the squad, did some good damage. Zera confirms that kill, but New Happy, they are forced further towards the north.
Lobster down, definitely, and out. New Happy, it's not really been their day. It certainly hasn't been their final stage, actually. Such a decorated squad, but 73 points, the best that they can really hope for now is maybe just squeaking their way into a top 8. But it will probably have to come off of the next game rather than off of this one, given they're down on numbers now. Zone shift in 5 seconds is going to tell us a lot. Twisted Minds are already on the move. They'll be ready to go, and the pull is going to go right over the top of Hal, VP. It's still an awkward zone to play.
Yep, this is what I was worried about with E-Arena specifically. No one's on the south of the river, and I don't know how many teams are incentivized to go that direction because it is still kind of unfavored. And that's only going to, I think, correlate a lot of the teams onto the north where we have VP crashing into Howl. Howl is trying to defend this position.
Zizzy might just die to bleed here as well. Like, if they hear him on Starboy Hill, they might just decide to take that fight. That's kind of been the bleed way over the last couple of games. Twisted Minds definitely on the move. They want to get out in front of most, and they have done so. Do they just set up inside of this house and try to keep their heads down? Looks pretty clean. Patulans will be calming that over to the team as well.
Twisted Minds still not all grouping up into one building, trying to extend their position somewhat as much as they can. Make sure they don't overextend that because there is still Cerberus waiting around as we spot Wally Tai. They took that casualty earlier on against Petrichor Road, and now TSM looking to push the envelope against them, or rather just try and loop in front of them. Open sight lines, shots from the Falcons, dealing a little bit of damage.
Nothing to get too concerned about for TSM just yet. Wondering where they're going to end up.
Might just be crashing into Twisted Minds or Virtus Pro. And again, these are 2 teams at the top of the leaderboard that need to use this round to try and solidify their position.
Oh dear. Wouldn't want to be a solo with an entire team of TSM headed in your direction. Looks like they'll pull up just a little earlier. And FaZe and Hal are going to go at one another. This is already started pretty awkwardly for FaZe. Gustav down, Corexi dead. Don't have any positioning inside of this compound either. The nade through the window might cause more problems for Fex than it would for Ruin.
Miscom.
That's really awkward, and that's just fallen apart for FaZe. Okay, TSM also copping the brunt of some util here from Gen G. I've got no idea, but Barpo, as a solo, is kind of taking TSM apart.
Playing out of the shack. Utility, you don't need sight lines, but Sipion has a sight line on a Barpo, so he is going to go down. The rest of Gen G too far away and not exactly the smartest idea to try and return, but that could give TSM the opportunity to not just get a res onto Alo, but also Kurt rushing forward to get a res onto Sparking.
Oh, Petulans is down. He's inside of a smoke. Cerberus on the other side of this engagement, and you know that if Cerberus senses blood in the water, they're going to be pushing their way forward. They're definitely looking for it.
Indeed. Not quite sure why Batu is all the way out from that shack to begin with, but I don't think there's... Oh, actually look at the minimap. It looks like Example is going to go for the revive. It's a fresh smoke, or fresh enough, to allow for it just in time. And that's a huge play. And no, I lied. Genji went for the revive, but this is exactly why they shouldn't have done that. Falcons, 4 a.m., way too strong of sightlines here, and they get punished dramatically for it.
That will indeed be the end of the road for Genji in this game. Or, I mean, they've got one player alive, but that's about all that you're going to be able to do with it. And the kills look like they're going to go the way of Sparking. Steals a couple away. Purdy got one. TSM very happy with that. And how about that for a pull? It still keeps the Rozhok River in play. I mean, it's a north shift afterwards, but...
Yeah, no, again, because, you're right about that. Phase 4 is going to avoid the water. We know it's going to be centered around Cerberus and Twisted Minds. And so that makes it doubly important that Batu got revived, because Twisted Minds need to use this game to extend their lead as much as possible. But E-Arena still 4 alive. They found some vehicles. They're going to try and find an edge position to play from. And they have been out of the fight for so long. Their strategy of surprise third-party attacks could come into play once again.
Maybe, I think they've been spotted out by Falcons. I thought I saw maybe a shot on the minimap there going in that direction. Could be wrong. Na'Vi right behind them, though, definitely have the information. Akatori gets knocked by Tosi. Not sure that is going to result in a very fun time for Na'Vi. Sosa's going to turn around. It does look resable for the moment. Tosi wants to push his way forward. Got another tag in there, but...
Could get in range for the final frag grenade and the final molly for Tosi to use. And the last player up for Gen G, this is as good of an opportunity as any to grab a couple of points.
Yep. It's definitely sending it. No smoke here for Sosed.
That's risky. That's risky. Tosi's got in range. The revive came through.
Now the smoke's starting to come on through. Tosi hasn't been spotted just yet. Akatori going to be back on the ground. Shots coming through from Snakers. And Sosed will save the day for Na'Vi. They can duck back down. They're safe from Falcons in this position. It's going to cost Na'Vi a lot of time on that rotate. And in that meanwhile, E-Arena are still driving. They're in the blue. Where are they going to come in, though? I mean, if they keep going, they're going to have to cross the river. If they don't, they come in next to Cerberus.
Yeah, I think the Cerberus, the Solozzi crash might be the play, but 4 a.m. now taking a position. Next door neighbors to Twisted Minds. Clearing out all the rooms, just in case there is a rat hiding out in this area. But these, the limited spots remaining in this zone are getting collected. Oh, you're right, they are crossing. They're going over Liver Island through Boatyard, going to be taking Rozhok. And yeah, that is going to be edge, but they're committing to crossing the river again on Phase 4.
I mean, are they taking Rozhok Hill and using that as a staging ground to keep moving forward from there? I don't know. I don't know where they're going to end up.
Again, oh, Elfish, this is looking like they're playing to not lose.
They're just driving around the map, man.
They're avoiding fights. This is not the arena that we know and love.
They have literally driven 360 degrees now around the zone. Well, Azizi has at least. He started down south, so I'm going to count that. And they do indeed come up at Rozhok Hill. They had to come in somewhere.
We'll see where they play from this position as Na'Vi have also arrived towards the center spot. It's going to go to the north. There's no way it doesn't. And it heads centered up on Virtus Pro once again. And this time, Virtus Pro, for their central position, I believe they have all 4 up.
Yep. Okay, this could get interesting.
Okay, so for E-Arena, let's look at this one. Their best plan of action is actually go to the east bridge, east of Rozhok, play through Bleed. There's a little bit of a deflate they can hide behind and sort of stage fighting up from that position. So we'll see if they do go that direction as New Happy now. They've lost Longsker, still 3 up. They could try and force this fight against Wally Tai, but I think this circle shift is going to pull them a different direction as Cerberus and Legacy, they do get into a fight as now Legacy crossing the river, crossing the bridge, and this is exactly why we're so worried about E-Arena committing to the Rozhok send.
Yeah, exactly. This is potentially the fate that is going to befall E-Arena as well. Bleed sort of on their way in front of E-Arena too, so we'll keep that in mind. Ming Ming's gone for a little bit of a tumble down the hill. The rock not doing him any favors, and nor was Mime. Headshot straight through the window, and that's the end of Ming Ming. Falcons starting to cause a bit of a ruckus in this game. New Happy eliminated at the hands of Luke 12. And the two North American rosters are making a little bit of a late bid in for the top 5 again.
TSM, they were actually in a bit of a struggle earlier on, so it's good to see them have not only just 5 kills, but all 4 left standing. Their position is kind of weak. Maybe they can try and find some openings there. But E-Arena, yes indeed, they went towards the east.
They're taking the Yazzie Bridge.
They're going to the Yasnaya Bridge. The Blue's going to overtake them at that point. It's phase
dear.
4.
They're going to go copping some shots from Bleed on the way. Whether or not they connect may not be the biggest of factors because they'll still have to come in with Howl watching them over that bridge. I just don't see this working at all for E-Arena. It could be absolute disaster. Simoy gives them some breathing room as he drops off of the bridge, but where do you even go?
Into the Mad.
Straight into the Mad. Jacob down early. E-Arena now with that information. They are splitting. They're all over the place. They've got no idea where they want to end. They don't know where they want to go. And they don't know what is clear. They haven't done any scouting on this side of the map. They're just gonna keep driving. And Zizzy is done. E-Arena is done. They're out in 12th. 142 points is where they'll end with 1 game to play.
0 points for E-Arena once again. And Twisted Minds, they have 4 kills already. They only have 3 up, but they have a good position to fight out from. This is fantastic for Twisted Minds to secure the trophy here.
VP, just quietly, still alive. 4, center of the zone. Nixie does get knocked. Cast a curse maybe, but if VP could have a win here with 5-10 kills, then who's to say there's not something for them later on as well. I'm not going to write them off until they're done.
A win would certainly help, for sure.
TSM on that northern side of the map as well are definitely causing problems. Another one from Sparking. Where's the zone shift going to go? Does it center up onto VP? It does. Twisted Minds still in that zone as well, so you'd have to say at this point, almost assured some placement points, if nothing else.
Yeah. It's a good position to try and fight from where they're standing. We have a little bit of a contest in the north between Falcons and TSM. And again, attention on Virtus Pro in the center. That gas station that Virtus Pro are playing out of, though, isn't one that is the easiest to find some defending angles from. It is very out in the open, and the high ground from Twisted Minds' position is a threatening one. We'll see how well they can defend from that position, as TSM is helping defend Falcons from Wally Tai. Latte and Megvalos, only 2 left, only 1 kill.
I'm still interested to see where Cerberus is going to go from here, because they are the kind of team that would just take a fight. And Twisted Minds is the closest team to them. Bleed and Legacy, a little bit of a back and forth with some grenades involved.
A lot of utility.
Boy is also on the move here. He's going to try and maybe get into Hawkran's position to help him out. RBN pushing forward to try to confirm that kill. Will get it, but gives up his life as an exchange. Zone is pushing both teams. Bleed getting some help now actually from 4AM, who have come across from the ridge, and they are just absolutely mincing Legacy apart. They've walked into a blender. Bleed survive with 3 for the moment.
Yeah, for how long? 4AM are not done with this. They have the exact same threatening sightline on the Legacy. Should go extend further over to Bleed. Navi still holding down. Wally Tai down to 1. And then Cerberus. They're pushing towards Twisted Minds, but also towards the north. With the open space here, the high side peak, if they want to extend that direction, could net them a good number of kill points. It's going to start with Latte.
He's cooked. He's going to hide in the bush, hopefully behind Na'Vi. Maybe could get an extra kill onto one of the Na'Vi players, but was in the end spotted out and finished off by Snakers. And now Na'Vi starting to have some problems. So too Falcons. TSM also copping a couple of shots. It's all happening on the northern side of the map right now. Nobody seems to be safe, except for maybe VP and Twisted Minds, the teams inside of the compounds.
It's one big, giant open area. It might be on a slant, but it is virtually a field that Na'Vi are trying to hold out in. Hakatori's been confirmed, but still the other 3 remaining are still standing. And with Falcons a bit weakened on the north side, this does give them an opportunity to push up against Cerberus. The spray comes out, the damage comes out. Himas does go down.
He's going to get rezzed quickly, or at least that's the idea from Cerberus. Himas might not be quite so lucky, though. TSM are getting some shots in onto Na'Vi, though, which will help Cerberus out. Blue zone nade. Cerberus going to lose Himas. Definitely be losing Sololzi as well. He's outside in the blue, bleeding out pretty quick. Isaki's on the run to try to help him out. Taikon, he's got the job of trying to hold on against Twisted Minds. It's a 3-on-1. Isaki has to turn around to help him out. There's no other option. Twisted Minds, they recognize more points on off. A nade from Perfectix onto Taikon. That's at least one more. And Cerberus are down at the hands of Twisted Minds. Another 2 points and another couple of placements in there as well. Twisted Minds are charging their way forwards.
I love this play by Twisted Minds. They saw the opportunity. They left the compound. They didn't allow Cerberus to get any sort of revives, any heals in play. They closed the door on that team, contesting them from this angle. There is 4 AM that is collapsing in onto this. The revive came in. Still 3 standing for Twisted Minds. 4 AM took the compound.
Yeah,
Took
it
the
gets a bit harder now for Twisted Minds, doesn't it? 4 AM standing in their way of safe rotation in. If they get on the roof as well, is there going to be enough elevation to find an angle onto Twisted Minds from this position for Godv? Well, he's not really looking for it at the moment. The answer's not really. I don't know where Twisted Minds go, though. I mean, Zone's kind of pulled over in their direction. At the very least, that is actually quite a saving grace.
Yeah. On one hand, on the other, you would think that a northern shift northeast could force or incentivize 4 AM to leave that direction, but regardless, Twisted Minds, they have to play the game that's given to them at the moment, and Halo, 9 kills for TSM. Somehow being able to hold on from this position, trying to send those long-range shots to get some opening, get any more kill points that they can, because that run from the north is going to be difficult, especially with the blue closing in and not too far away from them. 4 AM attention to Virtus Pro, but again, their main focus right now is Twisted Minds.
TSM's done. No doubt about that one. Sparking might just be giving these points up to the blue at this point in time. And so TSM eliminated. You know, that extra 1 or 2 points for Falcons could have been instrumental if Snakers might have been able to steal those away, but 105 points for both of those teams. Hal not too far away either. It's going to be a real jostle for the final 5th position inside that top 5. But the race for first is currently being won by Twisted Minds, and they are turning this fight onto 4 AM back around.
4 AM didn't even have the man advantage. Zipian didn't have a long-range angle. It was 3 versus 3. They run into Twisted Minds. The crosshairs come true for the European team. Bobo is now the last one left. So suddenly 4 AM essentially just gave the space back. Not a single knock. 8 kills for Twisted now.
It's finally coming together for Twisted Minds. Although Bobo hasn't been spotted.
Okay. If he gets 1 knock, we'd probably have to go for the kill, just looking at where all the other teams are, but Batu spots it out.
Yep. And finishes it off. There's another one for Twisted Minds.
And this spread by Howl, a very low agency position up until now. But at the moment, with the north cleared, they can put their attention on Virtus Pro, but the knocks have started to come back in. Twisted Minds reclaiming that high ground spot. They already have 10 kills. Is this another chicken dinner? It would be the second of PGS 4 for Twisted Minds. Can they confirm it?
Back to back as well.
Right.
How about a hat trick to finish the day off? That would be pretty special from Twisted Minds, but let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. They are fragging at the moment, though. 10 kills on the board for Twisted Minds. VP struggling. Howl obviously putting some pressure on them, though the revive did come through onto Lukerux. And in all this meanwhile, I was just going to mention Snakers. But he doesn't exist anymore.
No.
He did a magic trick.
He's gone. Gone in the blink of an eye. And that gives Howl a better position. 6th place on the leaderboard with that kill point. Could overtake Falcons and put themselves in 5th. But they're not in the zone. Neither are Twisted Minds. But Virtus Pro is the team that is the biggest threat to Howl.
I mean, is this Twisted Minds for another dub? It kind of is looking pretty good for them. Howl are making moves.
Whoa. Whoa, this is
awkward, though. They put themselves in between VP and Twisted Minds. That is scary.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe they wanted to send it all the way to Twisted Minds, but with the man disadvantage, leaving Code Marker behind, only 2 could fit in that vehicle. They're not going to full commit that direction. The only risk is, if Twisted Minds have any more grenades, which they do, 3 frags, 3 mollies, that rock can be quite vulnerable.
It's not a very big rock, is it?
Yeah.
Perfectix looking for the angle over the top. He's got to keep himself smoked to prevent the shots through from VP. There's enough of the ridge in the next zone that it's going to be playable for Twisted Minds.
Shots coming out, and VP, I think they're still aware that there's one member of Howl left.
There's the first nade. It's a long toss and a good bounce. That's going to be scary times.
Oh, that's... Okay, they can get the revive. That shouldn't be exploitable by anyone on Twisted Minds. But that does give an opening for Code Marco to strike again, and Kutpa pushes forward under cover of smoke.
It was the blue zone nade that forced them out from the rock.
Right.
Good Marco. Still hanging around outside the petty.
Popping the tires, just in case they tried to get a little clever with it, Howl.
Twisted Minds will have to move.
And Twisted Minds are out of frag grenades, so the threat of that is no longer a concern. And they have a lot of smokes to deal with, or at least a few more left, but yeah, they need to move into the zone. Where can they go? No one is inside this next phase. There is very little cover.
I wonder if it's just a full send from Twisted Minds onto this rock that Howl are in possession of. It doesn't really get them out of trouble, though. He who moves last, laughs last, I think is perhaps going to be the name of the game here. And that might just be Howl on that slow edge of the zone.
I don't know who I favor in this.
It's
Virtus
hard.
Pro do still have 4 up. I certainly don't favor Howl, especially with that knock against the Mad.
No.
Kepler could be there for the revive. But now Twisted Minds off the back of that knock, they're going to take advantage of it. They are going to be trying to go for that rock. It should be it. Nixie is going to chime in with some support.
Yeah, you got to pull up here and heal, though. And they're going to steal a couple of points away here, Twisted Minds, because those were knocks that at least were assisted by Virtus Pro. Example and Perfectix will get them. Twisted Minds, 3 on 4 up against VP, hoping for maybe Code Marco to have an impact. He was spotted, though. Quizzy will get that one done. Lucarex has been knocked back down by Code Marco, though. It is 3 on 3 right now. This is the time to make the difference for Twisted Minds. Batulin's copying a headshot will mean he can't push his way forward, but Perfectix at least has taken the opportunity to cross in that Dacia up to the petrol station. He's got to hold the fort and give time, for example, and for Batulins to get out of dodge.
He knows they have Virtus Pro cornered. Code Marco on the north. He's taken care of now, but until this point, he was keeping Virtus Pro trapped inside the gas station. And even with the man disadvantage, the crossfire for Twisted Minds is going to be difficult to break out of. And the timing of the blue pushing at Virtus Pro's back, this could easily be a Twisted Minds victory. But the man advantage, you cannot discount that.
Well, it's all down to Perfectix. If he can find 1 or 2, that'll be enough to seal the deal. He's got the molly in hand. He's looking for it. It's not going to be lined up correctly. Example. Spammed through that smoke. It's just smokes everywhere. Virtus Pro have no idea what is going on. Perfectix continues to creep his way forward. He is going to be the difference maker behind that wall. Will come up with the big play in just a moment. Nixie might have an idea, might have heard something. Nade's going to get tossed on out, but I think it's going to go too far. Here we go. Perfectix lines up 2. It's Lucarex. Quizzy down, Batulin's got 1. And it's Twisted Minds back to back.
The relief that you can see, the celebration that you can see on Twisted Minds. We still have 1 round left, but with E-Arena, got nothing. Again, Twisted Minds with the win, this time with even more kills, 15, if my memory serves me correctly. Their lead is now looking very strong to confirm PGS4.
Yeah, almost unassailable, certainly unassailable for VP. The only team in the conversation would be E-Arena, but they would have to have a really, really big game. I think Twisted Minds might have done it, but as you say, there is still 1 game to go. You can't count your chickens before they hatch, even if they have turned into a chicken dinner twice in a row for Twisted Minds. They've got to make sure they don't get ahead of themselves. You know, you can't have a 0-point game and leave it up to fate.
Exactly. In fact, do they even start to consider alternative drop spots just to avoid any and all risk? But they cannot play to not lose. They have to play to win. 1 round left for PGS4.
Twisted Minds plays the Perfectix game and makes an example of this lobby. They waited till the late game to get their chicken dinners. They do it back to back and set the stage for their big, finally, no longer second, taking a major, and holding that trophy high. This is big news for them and their fans, Metro.
Strategy, positioning, firepower. That game was just so clean on so many different levels coming up from Twisted Mind. At the very end of it, whenever we saw that 3 different angle crossfire to just lock VP in, you could see they were trying to fight their way out. VP just could not even step out of the smoke.
We'll talk tons of Twisted Minds, but we're also going to talk a little E-Arena. They had a very different game. They dropped in military. Sure, the circle shifts as far away as it possibly can. They do an E-pickup with 3. They make Zizzy drive all the way up to the top, and then they start driving in circles down. They start at the top. They end up at Rozhok. They try to cross here. They try to cross there. But I don't like it. They pull the David Moyes. They yank the strikers. They got hard on the defense, and they are not playing their game. If they had played their game in any way, shape, or form, maybe they pick up points here.
That's the thing. We always talk about don't just play for the lead. Don't play safe. You have to make sure you're taking control of the game.
Especially now when
And
you're up
with
by
that,
1.
When that rotation, you could tell they were like, okay, well, we just have to hope that Twisted Minds goes out before we do. And Twisted Minds isn't a squad that's going to play it that way. They will never play it that way.
And they have done something wonderful. Twisted Minds comes out with 2 back-to-back. Look at those faces, the vindication, the passion. Here in town for 27 days, exhausted. They put it together. Even in the group stages, they were struggling to put it together. And then here at the end, they make the big moments. Consistency is king with this team, and they show why.
And this is why we talk about the mental game in PUBG so much. You had to be on the chase, on the hunt for so long. And finally, Twisted Minds, you can see a bit of relief. It's not over yet.
Right.
It's not over yet, but at least it feels like it's done.
But that's what we were talking about, that spot right there. That's a live shot, by the way. We talked about where their support staff is. It was a very different vibe less than an hour ago as everyone was quiet, silently watching. Now everyone hyped up, excited for this team to finally do what they did. Now, when I talked to Batulin a couple of days ago, I said, what changes? What do you do differently? PGS 3 went bad. Everything else has been second places. And he said, you know, sometimes I struggle to trust myself, to make those calls in the late game, to be aggressive if we need to. Twice with the push out to get Cerberus, and then again on sending Perfectix down to the gas station. Bold choices give bold results.
These are the returning teams over and over again today. Twisted Minds, 16 kills, 2,484 damage. Hal, yet again, 9 kills, 1,700 damage. TSM, 9 kills, 1,500 damage. VP, couldn't get a lot of kills. They had a great positioning for it. The only other team I'd toss on here is Falcons.
True.
These 5 squads have just been so active.
When we got through that first day of play, or the second day, first day, I said, I don't know if TSM gets back into this. Second day, I don't know if Falcons get back into this. Now both are back in the hunt for the top 5, but these guys have been hunting for a championship for far too long. They finally made a roster change at the end of last year because what they were doing wasn't quite working. This roster is a champion roster.
Look at those damage numbers across the board. So much work that's put in, except for Luke. That's okay, Luke. But, I mean, 800, 900, and 666 for Batulins. Just coming up, making sure that they can say, no, okay, we want to close this. We want to make sure that we are in authority position for the very last game.
The man of the match, Perfectix, and he earned that title in that last push. When he went down, he stacked himself behind the gas station. He got that backstab, and there was just nothing that Virtus Pro could do, but it came off the back of the Howl push. They knew they had to stair-step that push, and they executed it perfectly.
And this is a guy that is having trouble speaking because his throat is sort of burnt out from health. Like, he just doesn't feel good. You can see every single time you look at him, he's got the hoodie on, everything else like that. He is not letting it stop.
He feels good now. He feels good now as they look at 26 points on that game. E-Arena, nothing. And that means that for E-Arena to get back into this, they have to have the game of the tournament.
But they got here off of their consistency, and their consistency has failed them. Now E-Arena has got to have their explosive game at the same time. How? TSM, BP are all having big games. I mean, hell, we've even got Cerberus and 4 AM that are making some very big moves of their own on the leaderboards today.
Let's take a look at total leaderboard. Twisted Minds takes the lead in a resounding fashion, 167 points, 142 for EA. Cameron and I sort of talked at the start of the day, and we said, well, it's 170, 180. That's where the cutoff's going to be. Twisted Minds can play this safe. They can jump to an off location. They can avoid conflict and still pull that 170.
But there's still so much on the table on the left side of the leaderboard.
You're right.
It was like, I think, what was it, 110 106, 105, 105. All of this for PGC points, prize pool, Twire rankings, all of this is still so important, and so much of it is coming down to this very last game.
Especially even that second place chase, because Irina left that door open to aware the attack of the hot drop and off leap. Who's to know? We're about to find out. It's time for the final match of PGS4 to crown a champion with Cammy D and Elfish Guy.
One game to go, and it doesn't feel like it's going to be enough for E-Arena anymore. 25 points the gap now between first and second. You would need to have an absolute miracle of a game to pull that back. Twisted Minds will know it. E-Arena will know it. It's not off the table, but it's highly, highly likely that Twisted Minds have done it here at PGS4.
As we see the legacy of world champions in front of us here. Who will be the team that joins them this year at the end of PGC? And with a victory here, this could open the floodgates, as we said, on the desk for Twisted Minds. If they can hold on, the gap looks good, but this plane path looks really, really bad for E-Arena. They drop out immediately. They go to North Georgia Pole to try and start their comeback run from there.
Man, it's going to need to be a massive game. You would be hoping that Twisted Minds just get knocked out instantly, and then you need to put plus 25 points on the board. It seems like an impossible task to me, but stranger things have happened.
Indeed.
Let's see how that initial zone pulls as well, whether or not that's going to help them out.
For Twisted Minds, even though they are dropping in a strange way, and what a circle to end PGS4 on. It's not going to be a clean game by any stretch, just by the nature of these rotations with the plane path, and the fighting is starting early. Lead with a quick little gun. No scope, but you don't need it. The bullets do the damage the same if you can land them.
Nothing connecting just yet. You've already got 3 teams down on the military island. It's interesting, VP, you know, I don't know, like, are they even maybe in a conversation to potentially overtake E-Arena here as well? Don't think the gap between them and second was quite as egregious as it was between second and first.
Yeah, about like 15, 16, 17, around there, less than 20.
It was 16. So, you know, again, E-Arena has a bad game here, and VP might be potentially in the race for a second.
They don't even need to have a bad game. Look at where Virtus Pro dropped. They're so good at finding center, even though a lot of their wins have low kills. Comparing their position in this circle with E-Arena's, it might happen here again, but you can compare these 6 teams if you want to go and multi-view all of them all at the same time at PUBGesports.com. There is only 1 round left to do so. And Twisted Minds in first place with a big lead. Could be an interesting finish to listen to there.
Yeah, they're probably the team to watch if I had to choose one. But it'll be a bit of a slower game for some of the teams down here on the southern island. Navi will be looting up at Novo. VP, bit of a split across the map. Genji as well. Slow and Steady wins the race for these 3. For the rest, that have to come down from the mainland. It's going to get messy.
Yeah.
Already a bit of congestion over toward the Milta Bridge, in toward Farm, and New Happy kind of holding on to the western bridge for the moment.
So Twisted Minds, they were going in the trajectory of school, but the distance and the pressure that came out of Petrichor Road, who were able to grab weapons very early on, didn't let Twisted Minds, get the vehicles. So they're all out in the open. And this does put Lou in an opportunity to get an early kill onto Cerberus if he finds it. And any point that they get, any kill point that they find early on, is only going to cement their lead further.
Yep. If you sense an opportunity, I think you run at it as Twisted Minds here. They don't need to win this game. They just need to get 5 points.
And especially with this circle being one that it is very unreliable to get any points, might as well get them now.
Yep, for sure. Tycon, most definitely looking isolated. The first couple of shots do connect. They just need one more. Example isn't going to be the one to get it, actually. It'll be Batulans that gets that shot through, and it is one more on the board for Twisted Minds, and the gap grows to 26.
E-Arena hated seeing that in the kill feed.
I'm sure.
And they have no clue what's going on. They have zero idea what's happening in the middle here. They probably don't even know that this happened at S Compound. They might have an idea, considering the prep work that everyone has to do at this level of the competition.
I tell you what, though, there is one sort of position that we haven't really been talking too much about. Obviously, we've been caught up with the race for first, which, look, let's be real, at this point it looks like it's been won by Twisted Minds. Not going to lock that in, but it looks pretty good. But the battle for fourth, battle for fifth is really raging. 110 points for Na'Vi, Falcons 106, Hal and TSM both on 105, and
Yeah.
you know, that's not even bringing into play maybe a FaZe or a Pero with a big game here to finish things off, jumping up a couple of steps as well. So that middle of the pack, you know, we're talking about the peloton, again, if we're
Yep.
bringing in the cycling references. They're not quite in the chase, definitely, for first or even for second, but there's a lot of moving and shaking that can be done between fourth and 8th or 9th.
There are 5 events that give you points to qualify through global points to PGC. This is the second of them, so every single point counts, especially if you're not a team that can guarantee qualification to any of the ones in the future. So this game still matters for everyone that is on the board now.
Yep. We know specifically Falcons have sort of highlighted a top 5 finish as being something that they are aiming for, and they're just holding on to that at the moment. It's been a bit of an up and down sort of run from Falcons, but if you finish strong, right, that's kind of what everybody remembers.
Mostly. But yes, finishing in their position is going to be good, but suddenly it's all popping off as everyone is making their way over towards the south end of Sosnovka. It's closer to the center, and Bleeder coming out on top against Legacy so far. And that, I
One
believe,
member of Legacy.
we were just watching the 2 remaining members of Legacy come in super late, so a bit of a split arrival for the Latin American squad gets punished, and now the 2 remaining players are going to have to limp in and find something to hold on to here.
Yeah, taking a boat. So they've just gotten on the shore on the southern side of Sosnovka Island. Probably not the biggest of talking points, really. Pero, on the other hand, were one to keep a bit of an eye on. They will have an uncontested cross of the bridge. Nobody doing any bridge camping.
Yeah, I'm surprised by that. On the last round, might as well go for something aggressive, but teams just don't decide that that's not going to be the play. The teams on the bridge want to get into the island early and play more for a more reliable mid-game, as unreliable as it is by comparison to other parts of Erangel or any other map for that matter. Petrichor Road now arriving in. This compound can be strong if it stays into the zone, which feels like a John Madden statement now that it comes out. But you should know what I mean. It's very oppressive. It can be. So it's a good grab for them early on.
Once again, E-Arena are true to form in that they are rotating extremely late, far, far behind everybody else.
Yeah.
Which, if they do go over that western bridge, maybe Pero comes into play.
The strange thing about this rotation is that they left at like 7 minutes, 7.5 minutes, and they dropped out of the plane early. So you have to imagine that they have the most gear of everyone here. Now, the difference between having a brick grip versus an angled grip, having a red dot versus a 2X, doesn't usually mean much at this level of competition, but those small edges of being able to play in your most comfortable setups, I mean, it's going to need to be a big game for E-Arena, but that could give them the biggest chances.
Well, yeah, it's going to have to get started pretty early. The benefit of playing edge is you do tend to find yourself in more fights than playing center, so if they're in those fights and they're winning those fights,
Yeah.
maybe. But it's a pretty slim maybe. I don't want to lie to the people at home and say this is very much of a likelihood until I see 2 or 3 clean team wipes from E-Arena, and then
Yeah.
I'll start to get excited. But
Yeah.
right now, it's definitely a long way to go. That is for sure.
Peppers goes down to Himas, and E-Arena are nowhere near here to try in third party. More shots come through from Virtus Pro. The mat goes down. Howell coming into the center, trying to find a spot to play from, and they get locked out, losing 2.
Well, what have we learned over the last couple of games? Don't be driving around in the center of the zone after everybody else has already rotated, because you are going to get farmed. Howell learning that in this game. E-Arena learned that last game.
Oh, that's how that happened. A bit of a replay here. Taking a glider over first and just dropping it out almost like it's a mini E-pickup, but didn't spot Bleed on the ground below them, and Legacy do get punished. Speaking of E-pickups, I believe 4AM have just landed from one. Barpo holding point onto Gen G, a nice grenade, but Bobo with the trade.
Yeah, nobody else from Gen G really in the vicinity to help out, so Barpo going to be down and out. It'll be good quick reses coming through for 4 AM. No pressure coming through from elsewhere. I mean, Himas is kind of hanging around on the wall of the airfield, but not in a position to really cause any ruckus. Thinking about it, though, it would be a very Himas play. Up north, Arena and TSM might run into one another, and that is a very unreasonable zone shift.
Yeah, this is awful. This is probably one of the worst circles you can expect ever on Erangel. But for E-Arena, attention on them, eyes on them. They cannot wait for a third party to reveal itself. They need to push the fights now. And for their benefit, against TSM, this would be a pretty isolated, limited one. So they can take this one, just a direct 4 versus 4, get the initial knock, and go for the send.
Look, if you've got any chance of winning this game, winning this lobby, I think you have to take that fight, right? Like, you just have to. But do they even know TSM is here? Maybe they've spotted the vehicles. Purdy's on the move. Oh, Talolzi's out of the bike and out of the game. That is the end of him for PGS4. Cerberus having similar issues to what Hal did. They haven't really found anywhere that they can hole up. So there's no real options anymore. TSM on the move. And E-Arena, I would say, will be happy to see that because they know that they also have to get across this bridge.
But if with TSM moving in front of them, they're going to be running into whichever teams are there, which we know is Petrichor Road, could be Falcons, could be Wally Tai, but E-Arena, they know that there are teams already in position. So if they come in behind them, it could be a traffic jam, and they see TSM camping or at least stalling at the end of the bridge. They turn around. Again, they don't want to push for the fight. They're going to be going to Ferry Pier, could be looking for a boat if one is left behind. But this isn't in the zone. Phase 2 has started to close in.
I mean, is this not doomed at this point for E-Arena? Like, you have no agency in this game at all. They can't play on their own terms. They can't really play the game. They're just hoping, yeah, okay, maybe there's a boat, but like when we get the boat, where do we go in? Well, everyone's kind of found positions inside of that next zone, so just don't see the way forward for E-Arena. Certainly not to have, you know, a 20-kill game, which is kind of what they need.
Yeah. Now, the one thing that you need to be aware of in a circle like this, with all of this water in play, as we see Twisted Minds out in the blue, taking a bit of a boat-tate themselves. Oh, and one of them goes down. Batu immediately eliminated. Again, they just need to hold on. They just need to hold on. So this isn't the end of the world. But still quite unfortunate. But one thing about this zone, the fact that we have less than half of it being actual playable in Phase 2, is that fights are going to start quite early. So, for E-Arena's benefit, they could be waiting for TSM to get into a fight, and then they collapse in with the third party.
Maybe. They're already sort of pushing their way across the bridge, I can see on the minimap. FaZe are also in the blue. Few teams, Twisted Minds, E-Arena, and FaZe, copping some blue damage. Still a lot to play for FaZe. A couple of extra points in this one gets them up into 5th, maybe. Zizzy scouting his way forward.
Alone.
Mirrored by Luke 12 on the other side of the bridge.
I think Zizzy might have spotted one of them. Could have heard them. Topping off the boost to give every single advantage in this fight. But the rest of E-Arena are on the opposite side of the bridge. They have yet to cross. They seem to be waiting for Zizzy to create some sort of opening. But this is just Zizzy walking into a 1 versus 3.
Yeah, I don't really see this working.
It's asking for a lot.
Look, he could potentially catch one of the TSM players off, but it seems like they're pretty aware of his position. And the nade over the top from Purdy is going to confirm that the information is there. A second in as well. Zizzy should be done and is. Shots slid through. It gets worse and worse for E-Arena and better for Twisted Minds.
It's looking good, but this circle continues to look really, really bad. Half of it is still water. Ooh. Replay of that knock and kill onto Batu very quickly. Not too worried. Not too worried indeed. But this is going to be... I'm surprised there hasn't been that much fighting so far. It's got to start popping off now. There are very few compounds left in play in this circle. There's like one big hill that New Happy are currently controlling. And then Blue from Twisted Minds able to make his way past the blue. Finds a crate. I mean, it's free. Might as well grab it.
It's a very big split from Twisted Minds, isn't it? Example on the shore, Lou in the boat. Here's the third. Perfectix also driving a little bit ahead of Lou.
Yeah. This might be Twisted Minds playing to not lose. which we usually don't like, but I understand the reasoning in this specific scenario, this situation with the Sosnovka Island, the craziest, most insane, brutal circles that we have seen so far today. Are they waiting for the ferry? Or are they just hoping for a boat? There is a boat to take.
They saw a boat earlier.
Oh, but they also see Wally Tai.
Yeah, this is the thing. Like, yeah, you can get the boat, but I just don't know where you can come in. Like, look at the coastline on the map. It's just cooked. There's just no way you're getting in here as E-Arena. I think it's doomed. I think it's done. I'm ready to lock it in right here. Twisted Minds, congratulations. But obviously that's not my call. Anyway, Flood's down to Alo. Virtus Pro with a rotation from the E-Pickup.
Yeah, there's still the fight to maintain second for E-Arena, regardless. And we see Virtus Pro once again going for a central spot. They took an E-Pickup to get to that position, and yet not a knock against them. So that's looking good for them maintaining their position. Lyric's still out in the blue, trying to hold on for first aid kits, and it's only phase 3. So still fairly manageable, but Virtus Pro, it's a self-knock for Ibiza after he took Sparking down. But TSM have stolen this position away. The rest of Virtus Pro is still on the coastline. It's not done for them yet.
Sparking should be resable if the smokes come through in time, but not quite going to happen. And so TSM will lose one for their troubles as well. Flood confirmed on the other side for Falcons. It's been a messy final game for a lot of teams. VP, Na'Vi, TSM, HAL, Falcons, all hurting at the moment. And those, interestingly enough, are the teams that are fighting for that sort of top 4-5 position. Perhaps Pero, the door is starting to open up for them for a big game. Example's got another point on the board for Twisted Minds. If it wasn't sealed, the deal is starting to look pretty damn good. Another one onto Bobo.
Yeah, Falcons weren't able to hold on. Could be slipping out even outside of top 8, which was the minimum goal they had set for themselves. We'll see how good FaZe or Pero could do here to follow up. The next phase, unsurprisingly, goes away from the water. New Happy on that high ground, holding the center position. How much damage can they deal to the teams around them? There's a lot of teams on the coastline. And then Twisted Minds coming in, all grouping up, despite rotating very separated from each other. But yes, Longsker, high ground. It can see everything.
170 points for Twisted Minds. How much further can they push that? It really feels like a victory lap at this point for Twisted Minds.
But E-Arena, they've gotten into the zone. They haven't been clothesline on the approach.
I mean, they've done a good job in that respect. I'll give it that. They might just be able to hold on to second as a result of it. Virtus Pro looking a little bit worse for wear themselves. I'm not sure that they're going to be able to bring back that kind of a deficit. And all things considered, a second place finish for E-Arena would be a result that they would have been happy with if you would have offered it to them at the start of this competition. Fashion in which maybe it's played out, perhaps not, but still a very, very good performance from the Thai squad.
He's gotten a bit of damage from this not quite landing on the 4 a.m., but Genji do get eliminated in 15th place. We're still quite a distance away from placement points. And despite the open field in the zone, despite New Happy's Eye of Sauron seeing everything, teams have been able to find small pockets to hide out in. Whether it's on the coast, whether it's a bowl, whether it's Twisted Minds that only have a couple of feet left to go. They're all alive for now. Emas isolated from his remaining teammate, grenade in hand, ready to defend from Bleed's push.
There goes Twisted Minds. Straight in onto Xiaopian, who's already pretty low. Blue not messing around. Gonna go ahead and charge in for one more point. There's a bit of damage going down on the Twisted Minds here, but they're all good. It's not going to be a particularly playable position later on in the game, but it's still one step further forward. FaZe now also out. They won't be overtaking Falcons, who might just hold on to a top 8 position as a result of that. Simoy gets the better of Himas. Bleed continue to be a pain for a lot of teams.
Damage from VHC, drops Seymour's down. It's all left to Trick to hold on for Bleed. They're able to take Himas down, as you say. Cerberus all but eliminated, and Gizera takes the kill, confirms that from Aquarin. So Legacy's compound, despite losing, well, there was only one player at the beginning, not two like we feared. Could hold on further on and put themselves in a better position. Them currently in 14th place as E-Arena starting to get activated, starting to finally go for some fights. At this range, difficult to confirm any of them, but establishing lines, establishing positions as the circle establishes Wally Tai in the dead center of it.
Well, maybe a chance for Wally Tai to get off the bottom of the scoreboard. 12 points the gap to Bleed. But a win might just do it. Bleed looking a little worse for wear. That's another storyline that we can follow. I mean, Legacy 15 points ahead of Wally Tai as well, so not sure that there's going to be too much of a jump up there for Wally Tai if they were to win this game, but something would be better than nothing. Pero thinking the same. They could get up into 8th very easily if they wipe E-Arena right here, and that would absolutely seal the deal for Twisted Minds if it wasn't done already. Jacob copping some damage. Ming Ming gets that knock, and that is the end of E-Arena, and certainly that will be Twisted Minds taking the victory now at PGS 4. The princes that were promised will finally claim their throne and become the kings. And they didn't even have to work very hard for it in the final game.
Not at all, but let's see how far they can take this lead. 172 points. Lou wants more. Bloodthirsty as they are. Crawling up behind New Happy. Longster is taking some damage, but that's Twisted Minds spotted out. New Happy's had a rough go of things this final stage, currently sitting in 12th place. And the threat of the top dogs trying to push in their position could overwhelm them, but watch Petrichor Road. They might be looking for an angle to get into this fight.
Pero definitely hunting for some more points. 3 would get them into the top 8. 9 would get them into the top 7. 10 would get them in the top 6 or maybe even 5.
Every single port matters.
Yeah, I mean, that's a huge jump from 9th to 5th in one game. Take that every day of the week if you get the opportunity. And Pero, they are one of those explosive teams that when they really get going, they can have a big game. Perfectix, he's done. No getting back up from that one. And we'll take that point away. Luke 12 actually stole it. So TSM get one more to raise themselves at least another step above Pero, who are making that push in onto New Happy. Somehow December 12th hasn't managed to wrangle that fight. Chewy getting a bit of a moment of respite, and that's helped him out. Pero are pushing their way forward very nicely now.
And it's all falling apart for New Happy, and this gives Twisted Minds the opportunity to back away. They've lost a second player for themselves, but they're able to avoid this fight. Longsker gets another knock on a Chewy.
Summer looking for the angle through the window as well. In fact, it's found onto him by Nan. It's been a little bit of an uncoordinated push from Pero. They had the 2-2 split. They had to force the res onto H-Left, and that has cost them the fight against New Happy, and it's cost them a chance at a top 8 finish.
But New Happy, 9 kills on, I believe that's Longsker alone. A lot of kill points for them regardless. But Twisted Minds, they saw that in the kill feed. They see a weakened New Happy. They want to get back into the mix. Petrichor Road eliminated. They want to try and cut them out. The circle goes towards the west again. On the roof, Lou gets spotted. Lou gets caught. Longsker backing away from a grenade.
Trick will be finished off as the last player there for Bleed, which does give a target of 63 points for Wally Tai to get off of the Wooden Spoon prize. I can't believe Twisted Minds are still kicking around as well, by the way, but this is what we highlighted, for example. Right at the start of the day, he often is able to do a lot of work in the duo-type situation. Lou! One more required onto Nan, who's hiding behind that vehicle. Forced back, nade in hand. Could be enough to catch at least one of these finishers.
Spotted Nan run around the side of the building. Wants to go and confirm it, but rather, pre-fires has cornered the last member of New Happy.
Where does he go? Well, flash out. Lou looking for the 1-on-3. Longsker will be confirmed. And round the corner. We'll lose the duel to Lou. It's another one. Another few points on the board for Twisted Minds. They just can do no wrong right now.
It's a victory lap for Twisted Minds. It's a victory lap for Lou. And now Legacy, they're joining the fight. How much more damage can Lou deal?
Surely not more than this. Nade's coming in over the top, and that will finally be the end of Twisted Minds, but they will be very happy at the end of PGS 4 as they claim their victory, 177 points.
PGS 4 champions, but let's look towards Virtus Pro. They are 9 points behind E-Arena, 3 of them still up. They're on the edge. And there aren't that many kills left to go around, but the placement points could push them above E-Arena, push them into second place. But Legacy now, RBN, 6 kills, 3 alive. Open sightline towards the north, towards that area.
Yeah, think about TSM as well, looking to nab one more point, which they would almost certainly be getting from here on out. And taking 4th away from Na'Vi. Considering where TSM started on day one, at the end of day one of the final stage, they were bottom 4. I think they might have got 20 points. They've had 2 phenomenal bounce-back days and a top 4 finish for TSM, well-deserved. It's been a good PGS4 from them. They won the group stages. Virtus Pro lurking indeed, looking for a second. Haven't been spotted out yet by Wally Tai.
He's up front, looking for the opportunity, but needs to get a confirmed knock. Perhaps looking for more, because their position is not great for Virtus Pro to fight out of. They're just preparing for a blind spot. The vehicle send comes in. Wizzy, I believe, was spotted at the last second, but now Virtus Pro have arrived.
Yeah, nade's going to be their greeting from Wally Tai, but some will go back in the other direction. Stun grenades in from Nixie. Has been able to force them back away from that back room. At least it gives some more space for VP to play with. He's on 1 HP, but he's alive. And should be able to get that first aid kit off. Quizzy will be the sacrificial lamb in the end. There's just no way he's getting back up, but VP, 9 points the gap between them and E Arena. I don't know if it's going to come together, but I like the fact that Nixie's been able to get on the roof.
Roof play, it's everyone's favorite. They spot Legacy to the north. There's enough cover between these last 2 members of Virtus Pro to be able to focus that direction. Sarah's blue zone grenade confirms Quizzy that's not going to be a revive, even if they were to consider it.
Nixie needs the chance to pop a first aid kit here. Haisaki will go down. Top 4 now for VP, for TSM. It puts TSM into 4. VP now 8 points away from E Arena. Wally Tai still 9 off of bleed.
And TSM have control of the zone. They have positioning there. Everyone else is fighting for kill points on the east side. Nixie with a nice drop. They need every single point if they want 3rd place. They need every single one. 9 points to guarantee it if they don't want to leave it up to tiebreakers.
It's not going to be a very easy task for them, but Nixie absolutely books Purdy-Curdy out of the server for half a second. I'm sure that'll be reasonable for TSM. Alo standing right next to him, but nice couple of shots.
Zera's been picked back up. Legacy are going into the zone, trying to make a send towards the center. Good damage coming out. Nixie wasn't able to confirm any of those kills, but he hears the footsteps below.
Purdy struggling. Nixie going to get some more points on the board here. Wally Tai, they're definitely not getting on the bottom of the scoreboard right now. Legacy have pushed it on TSM. Okie dokie. Where do we even go from here? VP, are they still on for another 6 points? I mean, this rooftop position is a very powerful one, but with the zone pushing in, it's going to be forced out in just a moment.
I think they would have to get the chicken dinner. I think the only way, mathematically, for it to work for Virtus Pro, they would need to get the chicken dinner. Thankfully, Legacy dealt a lot of damage to TSM, but Kiss hiding in the room, hiding in the kitchen, catches Luke on the cross, and that's going to be it for Virtus Pro.
The top 3 are now secured. Twisted Minds, E Arena, Virtus Pro, and honestly, TSM, they're not going to make it to 3rd. So, in fact, our top 5 are locked in as well. Legacy, a 10 kill game to finish the day. Might not quite be enough to get off of 13th here anymore.
But what a final game to end on, at the very least. They have to secure it, though. Luke 12 still alive, Kiss still alive. And if somehow Kiss could get this win, confirm this as a solo, we could see them overtake Bleed from 16th to 15th place.
Yeah, it seems unlikely. I wonder if he's maybe got a grenade he could slide into the little cubby hole that Legacy are hiding in. That would really be the only angle. Luke 12 will be the first that has to move with the next zone. So he's trying to take this duel against Kiss, and he's doing a pretty good job of it. There is a portable shield in there as well, so no more connections from Luke 12.
But no helmet for Kiss. True. Smokes out. 2 more smokes left for Kiss to use. But no one's going to let him get anywhere near to the zone. It's America's bullying. They're teaming up together to make sure that Wally Tai can't get any more points here.
Yeah, be an opportunity maybe for Luke to try to make a cross into the zone. Kiss is watching his angle and hoping the smokes are going to keep him safe from the Legacy angle. But Luke's got a few smokes to play with. Toss them out. He's just going to try and make himself a wall of smokes to run through. A tunnel of smokes even. And Kiss has managed to make it to the care package, which is actually safe inside the zone for the moment, but the blue zone nades are going to push him away. And one final tick will put it over the line for Legacy as they get their 11th, and that is Walitai confirmed in 16. Now it's the battle between Luke 12 and Legacy.
A rough start for TSM after their group stage dominance. And a second place, gonna end that a little bit, but still fourth place for TSM. A good win for Legacy, high kill count for them. But it needs to be said, Twisted Minds, your champions of PGS4.
Yeah, what a fantastic result for Twisted Minds. They've been hunting for it for so long, and finally it has come together for them. And you can see what it means. We heard conversations around Batulans. He's been saying he believes in the system, and that belief has finally paid off.
Your PGS4 champions, Twisted Minds! Arena and Twisted Minds were neck and neck the whole way, but Twisted Minds pulled it out in the end. Congratulations! Now, let's hear from our winners! You guys finally made it! Woo! Well, congratulations! Batulans, well, you finally won the championship after waiting for so long. How do you feel right now, Batulans? How do you feel right now? Wow!
Yeah, hello.
Hey. Okay, so follow the questions. You finally won the championship after waiting so long. So how do you feel right now? Oh my God.
Fine. I mean, we're happy.
You are so calm.
I don't know what to think right now. Like, I just feel that we finally did it, and I think finally in this last day we were different, and we did it all together. So I'm just happy that we were able to work as a team, and that's all.
Well, thank you and congratulations again. Well, Lou, hello. Well, your performance has been very consistent this year, but you were just short of the championship. What do you think made the difference this time?
Я на эмоциях не понимаю, переведи, пожалуйста.
Ты думаешь, я что-то понял?
Я не говорю по-английски.
Oh, we have translated there. Don't worry.
Давай, Тём. Ты говоришь по-английски.
Что говорить?
Что говоришь? Ничего происходит.
What's the question?
You are very happy forgot the question. Okay, well, this question is for Lou. Well, Lou, your performance has been very consistent this year, but you were just short of the championship. What do you think made the difference this time?
Короче, спрашивают, вот мы всегда очень хорошо играли, но почему мы, блядь, топ-3? И что было другого в этот раз?
Мы всегда играем на топ-1 до этих турниров. На этом турнире в Лазне мы договорились играть на топ-3, а не на топ-1.
So we usually play for top 1, so we can win, and today we decided that we're gonna play for top 3. And it happened, like, it's good, we won.
They're so excited. Okay, so the next one for Perfectix. Well, you won the championship after adjustment and your roster. How do you feel about your current team lineup?
Our current team lineup, like, it's strongest lineup, I think. It can be. Can I say a few words?
Okay, no problem, please.
Okay. я хотел бы передать привет моей маме, моему братику, моей любимой Ирочке. Вот. Привет тебе.
Ира, привет.
И я хотел бы также, не знаю, посвятить эту победу моему погибшему отцу, которого не стало 3 месяца назад. Жалко, что ты это не увидел, потому что он был моим большим фанатом. Вот. Спасибо.
Well, our translate.
He just thanked all his family, his girlfriend, and his father. His. It's also hard for me to translate.
Very touching.
Yeah, everyone who should know, they know. So it's good.
Yeah, we know before you guys it's very tough. I mean, all the competitions. And the last question for example. Well, example, as a new member of Twisted Minds, you will won the championship in your second World Tournament and were named MVP. How does this feel compared to when you won PGC 2022?
I don't know yet. We will see. I mean, PGC is more bigger than PGS. So we will see next PGC.
Whoa, let's see.
He needs time to realize how it's to win in our team.
Yeah, I understand. And congratulations once again to Twisted Minds, your PUBG Global Series 4 champions. And now let's hear from the deck to get their thoughts on the final match.
Ну, а что? Все? That's all? Okay.
Right now.
Congratulations to your PGS4 champions, Twisted Minds. It's been 4 years in the making, but with a victory like this, the road to PGC is paved in gold.
It's about time. So much heartbreak. This is a squad that has gotten so close so many times.
So many times.
And finally, you could see the emotion. Like, they were holding the trophy like a baby. It was like, this is so precious to them. And this is a squad that wants it so bad. It's so great to finally see that.
And you can see that. And I even love the honesty from Example. He came from a PGC winning roster. He was the MVP in 2022. And the answer is fair. PGC is PGC, but if there was a team that could win PGC that I could even call now as a favorite, it is Twisted Minds.
I want to point out something that I loved what I saw. Immediately upon the game ending, we saw E-Arena get up, clap, give respect. E-Arena, they kind of let it slide, but they knew that. This is a brand new squad and performed so well on this international stage. I'm nothing but respect. Maybe they could use this and grow from it.
The champions are Twisted Minds, but the future is APAC. These teams have been outrageous to watch. Smash mouth PUBG to say the least, but ultimately it comes down to the masterclass of consistency, Twisted Minds. But Tulin with his leadership style, the mad scientist Lou, the fact that Perfectix stepped up and fragged just as hard as Example, the 1-2 punch, they were unstoppable in the final day of play.
VP coming in so close to squeezing out that second place position. Yeah. They put in so much work inside that last game. Great climb today coming up from TSM. Na'Vi, Hal also on a solid roll. Falcons finally found a way to really secure those firefights. So a lot of stuff went down in this last day.
Virtus, bro, you bring it up. They weren't even in the finals of PGS3, and they make the climb all the way up there. But the MVP is going to be Example, a position he is not unfamiliar with.
I mean, this is just a stellar performance coming up from this guy. Over and over and over again. If you need to lean on somebody on Twisted Minds, it's gonna be this guy.
Imagine the boldness, the hubris, the brashness of naming yourself Example, and yet growing into the example for every young PUBG player of what a true fighter looks like. Twisted Minds, again, has waited so long for this moment. Example added to the roster and was the secret sauce that ultimately came to a victory here at PGS4.
Twisted Minds gonna be walking away with $100,000. finally getting that first place. E-Arena, stellar international performance, going to be walking away with 40,000.
That's
VP on that climb today, going to rack themselves up 20. And let's not forget about TSM and Navi right back behind that, picking up some solid cash of their own.
Absolutely. Big shout out to TSM. They also had a whopper of a day. Good group stages, rough opening of the finals, but they never gave up, never say die. That was the attitude of TSM, Virtus Pro, and those are two teams that I think will continue to develop as the year goes on and maybe become challengers for Twisted Minds as we get closer to PGC. But they were also playing for those very valuable PGS points.
So now up at the top of the PGS leaderboards, we can see it is going to be 420 points. Nice coming out for Twisted Minds. Service back behind that with 335. E-Arena on a massive come up, going to be moving from 70 to 250 points. Sonics in fourth place off of PGS 3.
But the 180 is still going to be good for them, and they did great at PGS 3. Bad things happen sometimes. You get bad games. Twisted Minds, for instance, group stages, I was worried about them, but they turned it back around. I expect Sonics to show up at our next event and do the same thing. Don't never write off a Sonic. Navi, though, these young guns, wowza.
Yes.
Watching them was exciting. It was fun, and it was the future.
Securing themselves good position. Petrichor rode back behind that. VP and TSM both on a massive come up off of their performances on this one. Now positioning themselves very firmly on their path to PGC.
Very excited. Also, Hal, 95 points. I love to see that. Falcons at 60. They did recover. They didn't make it to the finals of PGS 3, so this is going to set the stage for them. A lot of these teams worried about where's the Twire rankings going to show up. What does my future look like as the road to PGC continues? These guys are making that statement. Everyone who showed up here put their hearts on the field and gave everything that they had to here at PGS4. I want to give a thank you to everyone who was here watching this event, co-hosted by Crafton and VSBO. I'd like to thank the official tournament gaming chair Onto Seat for their amazing support of PGS4. The Zowie 2546X gaming monitor, the choice of PUBG professionals when you need to see every detail. And I want to remind everybody, there's so much PUBG this year. We got the Esports World Cup for 2024. It's going to be August 21st to 25th in Saudi Arabia. And then we got the PUBG Nations Cup here in 2024, September 6th through September 8th in Korea. There's so much PUBG. So much PUBG just happened, Matt. It's been amazing.
Yeah, dude. Twisted Minds finally manages to do it, and now we're on a path to some amazing events immediately after this one. EWC and PNC, it's going to be awesome.
On behalf of everybody here, thank you so much for watching. It's been amazing. It will be amazing. We're going to see you with more PUBG action soon. Until then, play more PUBG, but let's check in on the stage one more time with your champions, Twisted Minds.
Thanks for watching, and make sure to stay tuned for all the regional competitions and the Esports World Cup on August, PUBG Nations Cup on September. 2024 has so many incredible events yet to come as we make our way towards the PUBG Global Championship. So make sure to join us for all the action. One last congratulations to our champions, Twisted Minds. Until next time, goodbye.
الآن نتحول يا أخوان إلى باب جي. ويلكم ويلكم ويلكم. أرحب أبو شيخة. Yo, Jija! How are you, brother? How's your daughter? Well, when is the operation?
Hello, 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 hello. Fine, how are you?
موت. هات وريني عربية، عايز ارستر الجيم عشان الجيم الجاي ما يخشوش كده. What the fuck؟ خطواتك كأنك بتلعب باليه. انسى.
كيف يعني؟
يعني مش باين اصلا.
التشبيه والله متعب عليه تسكا.
تعال
أنت بتحب الباليه؟ سيف؟
بغمى على البلاي. شو اخبارك يا ابو حسن؟ طمنا عنك، ان شاء الله طيب.
والله أخبار الخير يا حبيبي. شو أخبارك أنت؟
يا جعل دوم يا حبيبي، يا جعل
أخبار
دوم يا
الساعة
حبيبي.
اليوم تعرف؟ كنا فرحانين.
أنا تي دي أم متى ما بغيتوني أشنكل الشكالين السكالونس.
الكالون في السيفون.
كيلو في السيمون. كلمة السر. كيلو في السيفون.
الكالون في السيفون.
بدك شي من السيفون؟ لا لا ما يموتون معي، أنا ما يموتون معي. انسى انسى.
والله؟
هاي جنجة هاي حبيبي. How are you? All good? I'm fine. Hello. Come. Number one.
Done.